Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Remembering Whodunnit Podcast. This is episode 3. This is going to be another lighthearted, fun episode. Although, wait, I guess this can't really be lighthearted
Oh
because
yeah.
today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ranking the kill shots or the eliminations. And I will not be calling them murders because saying this is the best murder is kind of, I don't know if I want to be saying that on film. So we're going to be calling them kill shots slash eliminations. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Once again, this is going to be co-hosted by me, Peter Slattery, and the amazing Matt DeGennaro. So thank you again for spending your lovely Sunday here recording this.
Of
Yeah, it's been
course,
a
yeah.
little while. Guys, sorry, I was sick, so we were going to record this earlier, but just stuff happened. So here it is now. It's going to be out. And yeah, we're going to get started. So, well, actually, before we get started, Matt, do you have anything you want to say about the eliminations, about the kill shots? Don't give anything away yet on what your personal ranking is, but just anything to kind of just start this whole conversation off.
Well, the kill shots, I will say, are iconic. They're what make the show the show. They easily could have fell flat, but I think a lot of these are so over the top and so like well executed that me and Peter are still able to talk about them and even not now rank them like years and years like later. So I'm very excited to dive into it and hear Peter's opinions.
Yeah.
We don't know each other's lists. We're gonna find out for the first time, and I looked at my list earlier today, and I have a feeling that it's going to be very different from Peter's. I think I know Peter's number one. I think you've told me
Mhm.
if I'm on the same wavelength as you, but I think you might be surprised with my list. So I'm very excited to get into it with you.
Yeah, and to kind of double down with what you're saying there, yeah, the kill shots and the eliminations are like how you said, it made the show, and
Mhm.
it's one of the most rememberable or memorable, whatever the word is, parts of the show. Like that might be the one thing people remember it years later going on. So just to be able to see how these characters get eliminated in the creative ways that production figured out a way to do this is nuts. And some of these, if you've never seen it, is gonna like blow your mind. So
Yeah.
before we start, I do want to say massive spoilers because this is the boot order essentially. While we're not doing it in order, we're basically ranking the best boots of the season. So if you have not seen the
Yeah.
show, highly recommend you go watch it. I know it's on Apple TV, might be on YouTube Premium or something like that. So just go watch it. It's a great watch. You've heard that so many times on this podcast.
Yeah.
At this point, it's a broken record, but we're gonna get started. So because there's so few. Oh, okay. Here, I got to say this too. We are not including Melina or Lindsay's deaths just because, quite frankly, they're very insignificant to the whole story in the sense that, yes, they happened during the finale, but spoiler, but in the sense that they're just, there's not very methodical. They're not very planned out. The contestants didn't really have to solve for how they happen. So we didn't really include them. So those are the honorable mentions. But just out of curiosity, Matt, out of those two, which one did you like better, Melina or Lindsay's?
Probably Lindsay's, just because they at least like showed it.
Mhm.
Melina's, it was just like it was whatever, and I feel bad for like someone who played the whole game and like that, and you don't even get to partake in the finale. You don't even get to be a part of like the final sequence. Like you don't even get like your own murder where people have to solve it. So I kind of feel bad in that aspect. But I definitely would say Lindsay, just based off like coolness factor, and at least we kind of got to see the whole thing played out, and it wasn't just like an off-screen type of thing like Melina's was.
Yeah. I'm honestly, personally, I'm pretty torn. I just think in terms of the irony of the whole thing, you have to give it to Lindsay just because, the killer finally shut her up. I
Yeah.
remember the killer being like, I should kill you for that laugh alone. And that's what ended up getting her. But yeah, I agree with you. Melina, and especially, I know it's talking more about the episode, but I felt like there was a little bit of gaslighting by production because the finale made no hint that someone in that final four was not going to be for the majority of the finale. So I know people were rooting for Melina, and then
Yeah.
for her to get axed off in the first 10 minutes is kind of like, eh. But we've talked all about this in the nostalgia rerun, so we're gonna get into our rankings. So I guess yeah, to kind of start off, I'm just gonna go to the favorite one, and this is where I was starting before. Because there's so few, it doesn't really make sense, I think, for me to go my number one, then your number one, then my number two. Like, it's just, it's going to spoil each other's lists. And, like, if we react, we'll be like, oh, I didn't like that one, or I really like that one. So we're going to start, I guess, with just the favorites. And because, Matt, you mentioned it, I'll go with mine. I think I, I think I just have to go for it. It's going to be Dante. I mean, this murder, this kill shot was so iconic. It really put the show on the map. It got people interested in the rest of the show. It's creative. It's like scientific, it's insane, it's visually stunning. Like it's just it has all the aspects of what this show would become. And for it to only be the second episode, I think really got people intrigued in what the show was. So just I got to give it to Dante. That has to be my favorite or my top.
Hmm. Yeah. Now you want me to say my
Yeah,
number
yeah,
one?
go ahead. Go for it. Go for
All
it.
right. My number one was also actually Dante.
Okay, okay.
I pretty much similar to what you said. This is kind of the death that I think really put the show on the map and made people like be like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And I've told the story many times, but this death, this case, I should say, it gave me nightmares and it made me like feel like the show was real. And like I still hear like Dante's screams running to the pool like in my head when I'm just thinking about it. And I really love the scientific aspect of the case that I think like you mentioned it. The rest of the cases don't necessarily um do that as well as I think Dante's case. Like I think other cases they might like outright tell you like it, but like in Dante's, like you kind of gotta, use your brain, think about it. And I think that's such a cool way of how they went about doing Dante's. But just because of what Dante's thing did for me in relation to the show, I have to put that as number one as well.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a no-brainer. The other ones are really cool, but I mean if you say who done it and people remember, they're probably remembering, oh, is that the show where the guy was running down the stairs like in flames? And it's like, yeah, that was the show.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean I we pretty much agree on that, but I think
Yeah.
what we're gonna disagree on is probably the worst murder. So we're gonna jump all the way down to the bottom of our list and which kill shot just didn't resonate with you. And you know what? I'm going to let you go first and then I'll go because I said my favorite. So,
Okay.
what was
Yeah.
your least favorite murder and like why? Like what made you just not vibe with it?
Okay, so for starters, my criteria was I went based off like the kill shot alone, like how they gone about showing it, creativity, what I think is like cool and not, and just what vibed with me. There was a lot of things I took into account. But my least favorite of the kill shots, I put Adriana for
Okay.
my least favorite one. Simply just because. I think it's very basic. Like you almost like know like immediately like all right like she blew up like that was the cause of death. They didn't really like all the other ones kind of like they tried to lure you down like a certain path as to what could have been the murders, but with hers it's kind of straightforward. And like I think in terms of like the investigations, it's really whatever. Like when she's like eating the cereal, like that's like whatever. And then the crime scene was nothing too big of substance for this case. All they really just had to know was the killer just told them go drive off the property and then boom bomb. At least like it's there's not much there. And I think that a lot of other cases go into a lot more depth and it just seems a lot cooler and a lot more fun to solve. So that's why I personally have Adriana's death last.
All right, that's very interesting. So I definitely did not have hers last, and
Hmm.
we'll talk more in depth about our other choices. But for my least favorite, I'm actually going to probably do something a little bit surprising. I'm not going to say Sherry's. I thought Sherry's was a good introduction to the show, like a good introduction to what was happening. I actually have Don's murder as my least favorite, and the main reason for me, honestly, was just even at the time of the show was just kind of like missed opportunity. I mean, you have a mountain lion, and there's just, I don't know, I felt like there could have been so many more intricate or interesting ways for the murder to have happened or the elimination to have happened that I kind of felt like cyanide poisoning, although it was cool that, it was in the grill and like you did that, there was a trap door. It just didn't really resonate with me. And I know it didn't resonate with a lot of people because I'm pretty sure episode 4 was when the viewership started to drop on the actual show. So for some reason, I guess just that episode didn't really work. And also, when you go into the details of how everything happened, that kill shot, that elimination is actually the shortest one in terms of Giles's like written out speech in the show's production of it. I think it's only a minute and like 13, 12 seconds or something, whereas the other ones are in so much more detail, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, some even. I think Gino's is like 4 or 5 or something. So
Yeah.
so just I never vibed with it, honestly, Don's. And it's sad, because I really vibed with him as a character. I thought he was a great character. I was sad he went out so early, but just I kind of thought they did him dirty. I kind of thought they could do more with it. So that's my least favorite.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Do you want me to? How do you want to place? You want me to go list
Yeah.
my next least favorite?
let's go back up. Number two.
Okay.
What do you got for number two?
All right, so my second favorite murder, or sorry, my second favorite kill shot in Whodunnit. I don't know where this is going to be on your list, and I'm going to give some reasoning, but it's actually Ulysses.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, not a horrible take. It's interesting. Do you want to explain further, or I can jump in with what I'm going to say?
I'm going to explain just
Mhm.
because I like that Ulysses was very different. I like that it was outdoors. I like that at the scene at the morgue, like you kind of had to like relay information. They had a sign of like what was poisonous, what was deadly, what wasn't. You have to relay that information and cross check it with what other people actually saw at the other locations. I think in this instance it was the last known, or no, it was the crime scene. It was the crime scene. And then the last known as well, you know, with the oleander. And I just think the way they went about doing that is super cool. And in the end of the day, the actual murder weapon simply just being like a common like nail with like even with like a little bit of some of the poison on the end. I think it's just like so creative. And it goes to show that like not everything really has to be over the top. It can just be, you know, something as simple as a little nail that could do the trick. And I just loved it. I love the vibes of maybe I'm a little biased. I really like the vibes of the episode as well, because that's really when we get to see like side A versus side B. And that's kind of when, like, in my opinion, like the tension and like the drama really starts to pick up. But
Mhm.
overall, I just the vibes from Ulysses' case and how everything I said, I'm rambling a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll shut up. But yeah, I really like Ulysses' murder. I think it or case, kill shot. I think it's a great one.
Yeah. So before I say my second favorite, I actually have to share something interesting. I've completely done a 180 flip on Ulysses Elimination. When the show first aired, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was dumb that they were out in the woods. But after rewatching it this past summer, rewatching all the kill shots again for this episode, I gotta say it jumped up way for me. It went
Love
from
it.
bottom tier to up at the top, and it's basically for all the reasons you said. I've realized, it's unique, it's creative. The fact that they mimicked a snake bite without actually having a snake bite, the fact that the killer went and like took flowers from the barn and put it in a mortar and pestle and made poison. Like I remember going back to it, like being a kid after watching that episode, being outside. I took a bowl from my cupboard and a rock outside, and I just started crushing up plants and was like, I'm making the poison. I was like, this
Oh
is
boy.
crazy. So I didn't know how to word that, but it was like it was such a creative thing and it was so simplistic that it just worked. I'll tell my other rank where that actually landed, but my actual second favorite, I have to give it to Geno's, just simply because of how much was going on. There was so much detail in this murder. I guess I kind of spoiled it when I said it was the longest one. I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes,
Mhm.
6:30 or something. But just the
That's
fact that
great.
there was so many details that the contestants had to nail down, and some of them definitely did not get those details right. Sorry, Ronnie, with the monkey idea, but just the atmosphere of it being the party, the fact that Gino had to steal Giles' cell phone, the fact that he forgot to wear the beads, the fact that the killer had to improvise. Like there's just so many things. The chandelier crashing. I mean, I didn't talk about this before, but watching that for the first time or the sneak peek of that episode when all the lights go out and then you hear just a giant crash, you're like, oh my God, he just got crushed by a chandelier. There was just so many moving pieces in that. And I tried not to rank these based off of the episode. I really wanted to stick to like which murders, are the most creative. The ones that I would like to rewatch, like an episode, they would get me to rewatch. Because there's like, for example, Don's. I really don't like watching episode 4 just because I have no interest in that elimination. But I gotta give it to Gino. I think number two, just so many moving pieces, and it was so interesting to watch.
Mhm. All
What do you
right.
think about that? What do you think about Gino's? Just in general.
Um, I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
Gino may or may not be coming up on my list, either at the top or bottom somewhere.
Okay, so here's, I guess, what we can do.
Mhm.
Why don't we both say our third?
Our
Uh,
third favorite.
our third favorite, and then
Okay.
we don't have to go through all of them, but we can just talk about some of the other ones and where they personally landed. So
Okay.
you just talked about your second, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna go to my third, and this is gonna be probably cheating a little bit, but I'm very torn. I think it's Ulysses. I have as number three.
Okay.
And the only reason I say I think is because my number four is quite going to be quite surprising to you. It's actually Adriana's murder. So
Okay.
I'm very torn between them. And the only reason I like Adriana's, I think, is just I don't know. I kind of just like the rawness of it, just the simplistic, just the bomb, like everything going off all at once. I have so many memories around episode three too. So maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia blindness, but I'm always hyped to watch episode three. So for me, I gotta I don't know. I gotta put her at number four slash number three because they're tied for me. I enjoy them the most. But like I said, Ulysses went from like second to least favorite to now third, which is kind of crazy that jump. But yeah, what was your third?
My third favorite, and I part of me kind of wants to change it, but I'll say the list that I wrote down.
You can change it if you want, if you have a moment of inspiration. It's up to you.
I think you've convinced me. I think you've
Okay.
convinced me. So, um, do I change it? I you know what? I think I will change it. Gino, I had at four, but I'm gonna move him up to three because I think
Mhm.
you gave some really good reasonings. I like every pretty much for every reason that you said. I like that the creativity of it with like the beads and then still Giles's cell phone and then like the really big diversion of like they really want you to think at first it's a chandelier and then it's something just as simple as just a gunshot. And
Mhm.
I love like the darkness aspect of that. Like that little riddle was pretty cool to see. And I know not judging based off the episode, but like Ronnie's whole, monkey thing is pretty funny to watch too. It's
Yeah.
like really like you're one of the smartest people this whole time and you're saying it's a monkey.
Yeah.
But no, I think for pretty much without rambling, for all the reasons you said, I'm moving Geno's up to number three, and my number three moves down to my number four probably.
All right. So yeah, we've gone through our top three, our least favorite. So we have a couple ones we didn't say. So
Hmm.
I have mine on my phone here. That's why I'm looking at them. I
Hmm.
guess where what were you thinking about Dana and Sasha? Where was that for you?
You want to know where I have them?
Sure.
I just switched that with Gino. That was three and
Okay.
four. I swapped.
Mhm.
What about you? What are you thinking?
So for me, like I said, four was my Adriana. So I guess where I'm kind of landing, my Dana and Sasha is actually at six.
Okay.
It's above Sherry. Sherry I put above Dawn because I can't give Sherry that one too much credit, but I felt like I said, just for me, it was more interesting than Dawn. But I have it above mainly just because I don't know. I always felt, even at the time and kind of rewatching it, that one kind of feels a little bit out of place just with how realistic it is. Like the chloroform and there's a lot of blood and a lot of gore. And I know a lot of people kind of
Yeah.
comment on that episode being like it is the murder specifically, or the elimination is very kind of like realistic. Whereas, I mean, all of these are pseudo realistic, but getting blown up in a golf cart, getting caught on fire, getting eaten by a mountain, like those are all kind of almost in a weird sense morbidly comical. This one was very serious. And I don't know, it just didn't really resonate with me. It was kind of simple, kind of like a streamlined thing. And I don't know. I didn't like the episode was cool because it was all themed
Yeah.
around like theater and everything. But just for me, I don't know. What were your thoughts on Dana and Sasha's?
The thing that I think is that I really liked about it is for it being a double murder, I think it was done pretty well. I think you have to really think of I do agree it's very like realistic compared to like everything. It's not like super over the top. Like it's something that it could as scary as it is, it could happen, right?
Mhm.
But like I think it's a good way to do a double. It's pretty simple. One thing that I always thought was super cool was just like how they did like the tracks like in the rooms, like the footprints and like the dolly tracks and how like
Yeah.
one of them's like darker and then one of them's lighter to show that one of them was on the cart at one point as opposed to when someone wasn't on the cart. I would have never thought of that. And the
Mhm.
fact that like that they were able to put that together, I think it's super cool. And like there's like a little blood path, everything about like the setup of it, I think is pretty cool. But given that I do think the whole Gino murder was like a little bit more like a lot more going on for it. That's why I decided to bump that up and move Sasha and Dana down to four on my list.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, different strokes for different folks. Where'd you put Ronnie's? I'm curious.
Let me my Ronnie, one, two, three, four, five. Ronnie's actually at my six.
Okay, because who is it? Ronnie's my five.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to what you have to say, but for me, for Ronnie, it was weird. I rewatching it, and I remember watching it at the time as creative and scientific, like how I praised Dante's was. I don't know. I just really think that this was missing like an oomph factor to bump it up, especially. And we'll get more into this behind the scenes, but the murders, they were all already pre-planned, and it just so happened that the people got eliminated had to reenact those specific ones.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt on top of the fact that it was Ronnie going home. It just, I don't know. It was missing that punch factor. Like just having it be kind of cyanide and him falling asleep and just the hot tub blowing up, it just didn't really resonate with me. And I know they were trying to be cool and they were talking about thermal shock. Like I know in the challenge, Giles put dry ice in a canister and all the ping pong balls exploded. Like it was cool on paper, but for me, it just didn't really resonate as like as flashy or as interesting as something like Gino's or something like Dante's.
Yeah, I completely agree. The reason I have Ronnie so low is because for me, it feels like something is missing. Like
Mhm.
at least like when they went to actually solve it, a lot of them missed a lot of like clues or evidence for it that I even feel like that we as the audience really didn't even get the full picture of how it was committed. Like
Yeah.
even though Giles like explained to us how it was committed, we didn't get to see that during the investigation aspect. So I always feel like when I think of Ronnie's murder, it's not actually like how it was committed because I only think about the investigation aspect.
Mhm.
But no, I agree. And the way I see it too is like, he gets blown out of this pool. I almost think like, I mean, we kind of got that already, if you want to say with Adriana, even though like I put her as my lowest one, I still feel like we kind of like somewhat got it already. And yeah, it's like scientific, but like, I don't know. I feel like it missed the mark just a little bit, as opposed to Dante's, where I feel like they really hit the nail on the head with that one. And I don't know how else to explain it other than that.
Yeah, especially, with it being the final five, like I don't know, you'd kind of figure they would go all out because from what we knew or I guess didn't know was that there wasn't going to be any more murders. Like Ronnie's murder was the last official murder. So to
Yeah.
kind of go out on that, not that it left a bad taste in your mouth, but you described it perfectly. It's missing something. And I think what didn't help it too was right before Ronnie and Melina go to their things, Melina says something where it's like, oh, is the killer going to put cement in my facial and like suffocate me? Like that's more creative than I think that what happened to Ronnie. So, we're getting all these crazy ideas from Alina on what could happen, how someone could get eliminated. And then, you just see Ronnie kind of blow up out of a hot tub and you're like, that's cool, I guess. But it just, I don't know, it didn't resonate. Um, yeah, who else do we have? So I think the only person left is Sherry. I mean,
Yeah.
where did you have Sherry?
Uh, I have Sherry at I did not one, two, three, four. I have Sherry at my five. I have Sherry at
Interesting.
my
Okay, so why do you have Sherry so high? Because for me, that feels like that's high, in my opinion.
I it may be basic,
Hmm.
but I think it is a very good basic. Maybe it's like you kind of said before, you're a little bit blinded by nostalgia. Maybe I am too, but to me, like it just feels like so iconic,
Hmm.
and I just can't like to me like that's just I don't know. It just feels right for me. It
Hmm.
feels right to put it there. Um, I know I may be sounding a little bit hypocritical at certain times where I said Adriana's was, maybe a little bit basic, but I think the basicness of Sherry's really works for like the first murder. I think a slingshot is definitely interesting. I mean people probably would have assumed it was a gun. I know some people did. I think the, writing on the foggy mirror in the shower and then them having to use like the fogger or the steamer or whatever
Hmm.
to like unveil the clue. Like I think that's super creative as well. The crime scene doesn't really have too much other than like, the wire and whatever, but like seeing that in the morgue too, like for the very first episode being like, oh damn, like this is kind of real. You see that the thing in the back of her neck, like it's too iconic for me that I think five is a good spot for Sherry despite its simplicity.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like I said, I'm not going to disagree with you because it is very creative. I mean, the fact that it's a
Yeah.
slingshot, like not many people would have thought of that. She hits her head into the water tank and it gets electrocuted. Dante thought she drowned. I think Don thought she was electrocuted or something. So it is still creative. I just, like I said, I just can't put it. I don't think I can put it above anything other than Don because, like I said, Sherry, I'm more neutral on. Don's is the only one I really don't like. Dana and Sasha, like anything above, so 6 to 1, I would say they're all good. It's just where you kind of place them for me. And seven's like neutral, and eight is like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah.
speaking of Dawn, I don't know if I actually my Dawn is my second to last one. One, two, three, four,
Yeah,
five,
okay.
seven, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
So
I don't think I touched on that, but yeah. I know your Dawn was your last. Dawn was my second to last. So we're kind of on for the
yeah.
same exact reasons as yours. We're kind of on the same page in terms of that
It
one.
it's really interesting that like our top three and our bottom two, well, besides I guess Sherry, but like they're kind of the same, and then the middle is just all completely different.
Yeah, like
So
we have pretty similar kind of.
So I want to do two things. Number one is how about just for the sake of the camera, let's and sake of all this, let's just read through our rankings so we get it official, because we blabbed on about. So I guess I'll go first. So number one, I said Dante. Number two, I said Gino. Three and four are really interchangeable for me, but it's Adriana and Ulysses. Five was Ronnie. Six was Dana slash Sasha. Seven was Sherry, and eight was Dawn. So what were yours?
Number one, Dante. Number two, Ulysses. Number three is now Gino. Number four, Dana and Sasha. Number five, Sherry. Number six, Ronnie. Number seven, Don. Number eight, Adriana. That
Got
is my full list.
So yeah, if you guys disagree or agree, let us know. And the other thing I wanted to do real quick was I actually made this video already 9 years ago. So when I was younger, I had a YouTube channel and I made a top five ABC Whodunit murders, kind of top five, basically what we're talking about now, but back then. So I rewatched the old video and I actually have my rankings from 9 years ago. So I kind of wanted to read them from back then. So, and this just shows you kind of like how we were talking about the last episode, how there were still fans of the show even back then. Keep in mind, this video came out in 2016. So this was 3 years after the show. So this was, decent time. And still, this was on my mind. I wanted to make a video about it. So here we go. So back then in 2016, my number one was Dante. My number two was Gino. My number three was Adriana. My
Okay.
number four was Sasha and Dana. And my number five was Ronnie. So really, kind of consistent, kind of not. Like I said, the only thing that changed was putting Ulysses up there because for whatever reason, I just didn't really like it. So, but now I've kind of turned around on that. I agree with you, Matt. It deserves to be up there.
Okay, yeah.
Um, so yeah. Do you remember? I guess we have a little bit of time left. Because then we'll do the outro and we're good to go with this. I know it's a little bit of a shorter episode, but hey, sometimes the shorter ones are good. So, do you remember if you can think back to when you were a kid, what your favorite one was? Maybe like right after watching the show, did you have one that was like, was it initially Dante? I mean, if that's your answer, it's Dante, or did you have one that you liked?
Oh, it definitely was not Dante, I'll tell you
Oh
that.
yeah, because you were terrified. You were
I,
terrified.
I think now that I'm older, I can look back on it and be like, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Did I have a favorite? I don't know. Maybe as a kid, I really liked Geno's, I think.
Mhm.
I think just for the same reason I said, just how all the different components that they had to like really find for it. But I just think as I'm older and I'm able to rewatch as many times as I have, I just think others, now that I'm not like a scaredy cat, I can understand how awesome Dante is and I can appreciate
Yeah.
Ulysses a little more. But yeah, I guess I'd probably say Geno's at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was Geno's for me too. I was actually kind of neutral on Dante. I thought it was all right. I think I would have actually put Adriana or Geno's up at number one. I even and again at the time, I don't think I liked Ronnie's. Sasha and Dana is the same thing. I said it's a little. I don't mind creepy. Like I watch Forensic Files, but it
Yeah.
didn't really hit even back then. And Sherry and Dawn, I didn't care for.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of looking back there. But yeah, so I think this is going to be it, guys. I know this was a little bit shorter of an episode than usual, but I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add, Matt?
Um, I want to thank the creators of the show for making these deaths as memorable as they are, because even though the show may not continue going forward, fans like Peter and myself can look back on it and still talk about like them like fluently and like so in depth. Hopefully one of these days, we'll get maybe a revival and we'll get to see some more creative ideas that they come up with. But yeah, that's everything I gotta say. Just they're all great in their own right.
Yeah, and huge, like I agree with Matt totally. Huge shout out to the production team because we now know how difficult this is. Because I don't know, maybe we can soft launch this. We actually went to the same college, and we're going to be hosting a Whodunit event there for some of the students. So it's going to be fun. We're trying to come up with the game mechanics, the riddles, and everything, and we're trying to make it as consistent with the show as possible. Obviously, though, since it's on a college campus, you can't do crazy stuff.
It's
But
very watered down.
very
It's
watered
safe.
down for
Yes.
safety and everything,
Yeah.
but just to get the game core mechanics, people investigating crime scenes or set up crime scenes and everything. I think it's going to be really fun. Like I said, I can totally see why nobody has remade this show because
Yeah.
it's so much planning, and it's a miracle that nothing got leaked. I mean, I guess leaking internet culture didn't really exist back in 2013, but
Yeah.
yeah, so we're excited to do that. Maybe there'll be a video on this channel if we feel like we're going to record like a vlog or something about that because it could be pretty cool. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that this podcast isn't all we're doing. We're doing a bunch of stuff. We're doing an actual game of Who Done It. It's back from the dead 13 years later. Um, but yeah, with that, guys, look forward to more episodes. We have a couple more ideas coming up. I know we were going to do a behind the scenes episode potentially, and cross our fingers. Maybe we could even get an interview with somebody on the cast. That would be nuts.
That would
We've
be
not reached
awesome.
out yet. We want to build this up a little bit before. But hey, if you Who Done It cast member, if you're watching, send me an email. Let us know. Come on, get on the let us interview you. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm Peter Slattery. It was Matt DeGennaro. Thank you so much for watching Remembering Whodunnit Podcast. We'll see you guys soon.